We are in Module 5 of the Incident Management Practice Certification Training. In Module 5, we will deal with the partners and suppliers dimension of incident management. The exam syllabus is the following. We will be understanding the role of partners and suppliers in this practice, particularly the dependencies of the practice on third parties, and explain how the partners and suppliers can support this practice. Which means by the end of the topic, you will be able to explain the role of third parties in this incident management practice and also understand the opportunities offered by those third parties in incident management. Third parties performing incident management activities. Some of the incident activities can be largely or completely performed by a specialized third-party supplier. They are often involved in incident diagnosis and resolution, and sometimes in other activities as well. It is important to ensure effective integration of the third parties in the incident workflows and information exchange as well, and also adherence of the suppliers to relevant policies. Therefore, the incident models should reflect and define how the third parties are involved in the resolution of incidents and how the organization ensures effective collaboration. This will depend on the architecture and design solutions for products, services, and value streams, and should be supported by the contracts and agreements arranged via the supplier management practice. The optimization of incident models supporting these solutions will involve the incident management practice. Generally, after the correct model is selected for an incident, further consideration of third-party dependencies will be needed during incident diagnosis, resolution, and review in case there are suppliers involved. The defined standard interfaces may become an easy way to communicate the necessary conditions and requirements for a supplier to become a part of the organization's ecosystem. Such interface description may include rules of data exchange, tools and processes that will create a common language in the multi-vendor environment. In situations where organizations aim to ensure fast and effective incident resolution, they usually try to agree to close cooperation with their partners and suppliers. By removing formal bureaucratic barriers in communication, collaboration, and decision-making, this enables more impromptu, instant joint work to support the effective and quick resolution of incidents. Very few services, in fact, are delivered using only the organization's own resources. Most of all depends on other services, often dependency on other services, often provided by third parties outside the organization. The relationships and dependencies introduced by supporting services are described in the practice guides for service design, architecture management, supplier management, and so on. The partners and suppliers may support the development, management, and execution of the incident management practice. The forms of support include the following: performing incident management activities, provisioning the software tools, and providing consulting and advisory. We have just now covered performance of the incident management activities by the third-party suppliers. We now look into the provisioning of software tools and consulting and advisory by third parties. Most software tools used for incident management are shared with other practices. However, implementation and use of integrated service management information systems often starts with automating incident management and service desk activities. In this case, the owner of the incident management practice and the managers of the teams involved in incident management should define requirements and interact with other teams and practices of the service provider. Now, this will ensure that the required tools are procured, implemented, and used in an optimal way. The development of the incident management practice often becomes the first step in service value system development, and therefore involves specialized consultancy services provided by a third party. Specialized suppliers who have developed expertise in incident management can help establish and develop practices, adopt methods and techniques such as swarming, and initially develop incident models. So this was a short lesson. The key learning points we had are the following. Incident management always depends on third parties. Partners and suppliers participate in the incident management activities. They provide software tools and integration and provide ITSM consulting services. Such third-party participation should be supported by the agreements and involve the supplier management practice. It is now time for a quiz. We have the first question here. Which statement about third parties' role in incident management is correct? A. Third parties should be excluded from incident management activities. B. Incident models should define third parties' involvement in incident management. C. Incident management activities should be delegated to third parties as much as possible. Or D. Interactions with third parties during incident management should be formalized as much as possible. So some incident management activities can be largely or completely performed by a specialized supplier. Usually such third parties are involved in incident diagnosis, resolution, and sometimes in other activities. Therefore, option A would be incorrect. And because I just mentioned that third parties are often involved in incident diagnosis, resolution, and other activities, the incident models should define how third parties are involved in incident resolution and how the organization ensures effective resolution and collaboration. Therefore, B is a correct answer. Option C, incident management activities should be delegated to third parties as much as possible. Yes, but it all depends on the architecture and design solutions of product, services, and value streams, rather than saying that they should be delegated to third parties as much as possible. Though some activities can be performed by specialized suppliers. Option D, interactions should be formalized. But while this may be okay to some extent, but there should not be too much formal bureaucratic barriers in communication, collaboration, and decision making, because there has to be fast and effective incident resolution, and there has to be close cooperation between the organization and their partners and suppliers. Therefore, option B would be the best option. We have the second question coming up. Which of the following statements is correct about partners and suppliers in the incident management practice? A. Third parties cannot be involved in incident diagnosis. B. Third parties cannot be involved in incident resolution. C. Third parties need to provide 24/7 services. D. Third parties need to adhere to relevant policies. Option A is not correct because third parties are often involved in incident diagnosis and resolution and sometimes in other activities. Therefore, it is important to ensure effective integration of the third parties in the incident workflows and information exchange, as well as their adherence to relevant policies. B. Third parties can be involved rather than B, which tells us they cannot be involved in resolution. And just like I mentioned, for point A or option A, third parties are often involved in incident related activities. Option C, the third party involvement are agreed separately and 24/7 support may or may not be needed. So therefore, it is not necessary that third parties always need to provide 24/7 services. It is important that effective integration with the workflows of the supplier are ensured. Option D, third parties need to adhere to relevant policies. So third party, this is a true statement as well. Third parties are often involved in incident diagnosis and resolution, and sometimes in other activities. It is important to ensure effective integration of the third parties in the incident-related workflows and information exchange, as well as their adherence to relevant policies. Therefore, D would be the correct answer. And that brings us to the end of this short module 5. And I'll see you soon in module 6, where we look into incident management capability development. Thank you.